up right now, Dad. Zero chance.
That's why I was trying to drag your butt outside to go potty.
Zero chance I'm getting up right now, Dad. Probability 0.0. Choo, 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 choo.
I guess you're fiending for a brekkie now.
You want a brekkie? What a goofus. What a gallant goofus. Yo. Yo, yo. Yo, yo, yo. How does it do and what does it go? Jeez, it's fucking early in the morning. Why is it so goddamn early? Just watched your last stream. I don't really remember, but I feel like the last stream was pretty good. We talked religion a little bit, maybe? I think we did a little religious talking, if I'm not mistaken. Whatever you were sick with is over? Good. Good, good, good. It's good to be well and not sick. Ugh. It's a terrific day. Terrific. What's up with the tariffs? What's up with the trade war? How we doing? How's the trade war looking today? Don't ooh la la me. I'm not trying to have it this morning. 100% not trying to have your ooh la la's today, okay? I need you to listen. Okay, I am a human being with feelings, okay? Car insurance is going up due to car parts being manufactured abroad. Da-da-da-da. Will the world comply with our victimhood? Find out next time on America. Ooh, gosh, it's cold out here today. Why is it so cold? I feel like it should be warm. Give me a little bit of warmth. What state am I in? State of frigidness. Ooh, ooh. Fat guys can't feel cold. But I'm cold. Well, or not fat. Or not fat. I think I am quite fat. I like eggs. Okay, good. There's some real champions in the chat this morning. Some real fucking champs. I gotta say. Look out. We got some champs. Yeah, if I'm not fat, could you tell my doctor? Could I have you write a note to my doctor? I think my doctor would like to know that I'm not fat. I think it's something that my doctor needs to know. Because she seems to think I'm pretty fat. From the way that she talks to me about being pretty fat, you know what I mean? Where's your go-to dinner? I don't really have a go-to dinner. A whole chicken. A whole chicken. A pint of beef gravy. I wish, bro. Feasting. Feasting like a king. Come on. It's kind of hard to roll J's when it's so damp. Like, humid. Humidity's high. That makes your papers, like, super flimsy. Do I think it's worth sending children to public school anymore? Probably, yeah, but I'm not a parent, so that'll be up to you, I guess. High humidity makes it feel colder. You're kidding. You're kidding. Yeah, no, it does. And it's very humid here. So whatever the temperature is out here, it's like 20 degrees fucking colder than that by feel. I have a daughter that will be starting kindergarten next year. Well, I mean, your choice is send daughter to public school, pay for private school, or homeschool. Those are your three choices. And most of those choices aren't really choices for the average family. The average family doesn't make enough income to homeschool children and doesn't make enough income to private school children. So you're kind of like forced in a certain way, right? Making pasta from scratch. Oh, homemade pasta sounds pretty fucking good. Is there a difference between West Coast and East Coast forests? Just like a difference in tree species. Yeah, it's like here on the West Coast, we've got, you can see I'm surrounded by Western red cedar, right? Just like completely and utterly inundated with red cedar. You're not going to find Western red cedar on the East Coast, right? So, and just the different types of trees, right? What's your favorite movie? Aliens. The sequel, not the first one. Well, the first one's good. Aliens. That's the top tier. Whoa. No chin wiggles. You let the chin chatter start, and it never stops. Kroll? Kroll is such a good movie. Nobody knows about Kroll. Nobody ever talks about Kroll, but that movie is dope. Super dope. How can I gain a white person's respect without giving them my time or money? You can't. That's the only way we respect you, is if you give us a ton of time and money. Sorry, that's just how white people be. Are you going to watch the new Minecraft movie? Yes. Do you kind of, like, I kind of want to go see Snow Brown too. I feel like, which one of those do you think is going to be worse? Minecraft or Snow Brown? You think Minecraft by far is going to be worse than Snow Brown? I don't know. Snow Brown looks pretty bad. Snow Snow Brown looks pretty bad. Snow White was amazing. My son and I really enjoyed it. Okay. Well, maybe it's not bad then. So maybe Minecraft will be the worst one. I don't know. Duh. I mean, that's all they make now. When you hear one of these big franchise movies, right? Let me explain something to you. In the 80s, right, when I was a kid, and you heard about one of these big franchise movies, you instantly got excited, right? Because, holy shit, they're making a cool ass movie about some other thing. So, like, Ninja Turtles is a perfect example, right? I was a little kid. My favorite thing in the world was Ninja Turtles. All of a sudden, there's a Ninja Turtles movie, and that movie is badass. That first Ninja Turtles movie is badass. For kids, right? Like, I was a kid. I was excited for Ninja Turtle movie. I went to the Ninja Turtle movie. I was even more excited when I left. Kids don't get that these days. Because if they make a movie of something, they're going to poopy it up. It's going to suck. Oh, sorry, baby. Live action Ninja Turtles was amazing, right? And it's filled with that. Like if you think about it, like when they would take a franchise that wasn't a movie and make it into a movie back in the day, it may not have been like Oscar worthy, but you were getting a good ass movie. You know, you were getting some badass stuff. Not anymore. I had to back away from game film coverage online because most of it has nothing to do with covering the quality of the product. It's always some agenda, conspiracy, culture war nonsense. I hate that too. But to be quite frank with you, that is at least half of the responsibility for that is on Hollywood for leaning so hard on the exact same tropes in movies. How do you make a movie that's emotionally impactful? Cover the kind of like controversies of the day. It's just exploitative. Well, I don't ever plan on, when I fire back up Cinema for Cynics here in the future, I don't ever plan on being a culture war commentator. If a movie is about the culture war, I'll talk about the movie, right? I'll make inferences, but I'm not like dipping my toe into the everything is political. Like, if anything, Cinema for Cynics is a way for me to step away from that. It's okay to cover the politics within a movie, but trying to turn every movie into a culture war narrative, I can't hang with that.
There's a lot of subtleties you miss focusing on the culture war too. Like it could have a message that you'd say is political, but that's not like
At the root of it,
or at the front of the mind of the culture war.
right?
Like there's things about politics that people aren't focusing on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of projection, right? Like a lot of people want to see a certain type of thing in movies, and so they make it so they see that. But you focusing on that overarching narrative, like you said, could cause you to miss a whole lot of detail. Are you surprised some of the latest Nintendo games will be $90? No, it's been... Dude, the price of video games has been creeping up ever since I was a kid.
GTA 6 is almost guaranteed to be at least that.
It's gonna be It's gonna be $100 game.
Yeah.
The days of us like $50 was this weird sticking point for the longest time. It feels like when a brand new video game reached $50, it's like that's what the market would support at that time. And so it stayed 50, they crept it up $59, closer to $60. Now it's, for a brand new game, AAA game or whatever,
60 is the minimum.
60 is the absolute rock bottom you're paying for a new game. Now it's more like 69, $70 for a brand new game. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just it's like everything else. It's inflationary, right? So...
Yeah, the only way that GTA 6 is not $100 is if they put it chock full of microtransactions.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But they're probably going to put microtransactions in anyhow.
100%. Yeah, that's 100% happening.
They're going to sell Cybertruck skin.
Yeah, they'll probably sell skins. They'll probably do what they did with GTA 5 and let you buy in-game money.
Yeah.
But it'll have a huge online component to it. But yeah, I think GTA 6 is going to be $100 game. That's my thought process on it. Nintendo announcing that it's just raising its price points is going to push every other price point up.
Yeah, Because who's going to say no to your kid? Mom, I want to play Mario Kart.
Yep. You already got your kid the fucking shit.
I think they're also going to, like, stop support for older consoles more hard now. But they're going to push it to where, like, we're not building it for the last generation at all.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. We'll see. What can I do in my day-to-day life to fight back against the Department of Education? Your day-to-day life? If you want to try and, like, improve your child's educational prospects, one of the greatest things you can do is to start camping out your school board meetings and take your fucking allotted time to talk every time and just become a nuisance there and see if you can get a group of parents together, like a PTA. You know what I mean? That can be pretty powerful in these large decision-making processes that these school districts go through. Like, I remember there being, just kind of like a pretty big public outcry over security measures in the wake of one of the shootings, and the public just like slammed out the school board meeting, and they were having to bring people in chunks because they couldn't fit everybody in the venue, and you know what I mean, and that caused the school district to somehow find the money immediately to make closed campuses of every campus in the county, right? It was something that they had said that they were going to do over the next 2 years, and parents were like, no, you're going to do it now. And so that, you know what I mean? That is one way you can do it, but it's going to require you just like rabble rousing with other parents. You're going to have to get to know other parents, and you're going to have to convince them to come with you to these meetings so that you're not just a single voice.
It's definitely something to keep in mind, regardless, too. Like, the best thing you can do for your kids' education, besides holding their schools to account, is that you're involved.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, it's no matter how good the school is, a kid is going to get more practical education from their parents than from any school. A teacher can only be so important in your child's life, and it doesn't ever rise to your level of importance. So yeah, you, like, as a parent, are the most responsible party for the education level of your child. If you're in the mental space that you're giving your child over for other people to teach it, you're in the wrong mental space. School is school. It's not an academy for being an adult. It's
like if you
learning
want that,
things.
then go as far as like the boarding schools. That was the real, like, put your kid off at the school's hands.
Yeah.
Most people ain't doing boarding schools, so you gotta still do some teaching at home on a regular basis.
I always want to go to school board meetings, but they don't allow you to carry your firearm in there, and that's a big no-no for me. What's a bigger no-no? Your child getting shitty education and nothing being done about it, or you not being able to carry your fucking pistol into a room? Which one's a bigger no-no in your life? Your child growing up retarded and unable to read and unable to function, or being able to take a pistol into a room?
What's the pistol for, bro?
Yeah, like what do you think's going to happen? Do you think the school board president is going to bust out a machine gun and start mowing people down, and you're going to be the good guy? Like, why? Leave it in the car. Go in, talk to your fucking representatives, and then go back out in the car and rearm yourself. How's that? Yeah, my dad loves his gun more than me. Yeah. Like, that's goofy. That's just goofy shit. That's goofy talk. I thought this was America. Yeah, right?
Do you think for some people it's like the same as like the cell phone, like the security
Oh,
blanket
yeah.
having a gun?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some people are real into that concealed carry shit. And it's like, yeah, it would be like walking out of the house without your shoes on or some shit. I wanted to go vote, but they wouldn't let me into the polls without putting on pants, and that's a big no for me. Yeah, I get you. You know. Yeah.
To be fair, I think there's more of an argument for voting without pants than going into a school board meeting.
True. Good point. It's not even just the DOE, man. See, this is the reason why I'm not freaking out about the Department of Education being undermined or whatever by Trump, because I see how much influence that federal level organization has and how much more influence the local level has, right? The federal level, there's funding wrapped up in it, right? So that's important. I'm not trying to downplay that. There's funding and there is curriculum that flows forth from the federal government, right?
But it's a framework that local districts build on heavily.
Well, yeah. Local districts are responsible for how the money is spent. That's in my opinion the number one thing that parents could start rabble rousing about at schools. Because I've worked for school districts. If you're close to that process, you know that millions of dollars are wasted. Millions of dollars are wasted. And that those millions of dollars could functionally lower class sizes at these schools by a significant margin, right? You could go from 40 to 1 in a lot of California schools to maybe 20 to 1 with those millions of dollars. It's just a money sieve. And you will watch the local officials of your school board live like kings. We're talking BMWs. We're talking Aston Martins. We're talking
Comped meals at every
comped
little
meals
thing.
at everything. We're talking, $8,000 suits. We're talking Bruno Magli shoes. We're talking alligator fucking briefcase. You know what I mean? I'm not even joking, man. We're talking about a shitty little farm town. We're not talking about like the superintendent of the LA County School District. We're talking about the superintendent of the Madera County School District, a shitty little farming town. And he was driving around in a Benz. A Benz, by the way, that was purchased for him, or not purchased for him, but that like was paid for by the school district. Part of the way that they lure superintendents to these tiny school districts where nobody wants to live is they give them huge stipends. We'll give you a car allowance. We'll give you a credit card that lets you travel for free, and blah 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 blah. So if you understand that, like, the money clog for schools really isn't the federal government. They're part of it, but most of those schools are funded by local initiatives, local taxes.
Yeah.
And those taxes go right in the pocket of those high ups, is all I'm saying.
Levy system is a bad system too. Like, the funding of a school shouldn't be based on a vote every couple of years. And you have a sustainable fucking.
I agree, but it sets the stage for direct actions for parents.
Yeah.
Because that budget is decided at that level and involving everybody. If parents get together, they can maintain that. They are the mechanism by which that budget gets maintained, so it doesn't get slashed in places they don't want it, right? That's the stopgap. And I think it works, but only if there's mass participation with the parents. It's not just reading to your kid, it's not just helping your kid with your homework or with their homework. It's advocating for your child every step of the way. You see something or you hear about something going on at a school that isn't right, that isn't correct, that's impeding your child's ability to get a decent education, make your child feel unsafe, it's on you ultimately, right? Raise a stink about that shit. I mean, millions of dollars wasted on these big contracts too. I was in the technology area of the school district, and I saw schools that had 46-1 buying several $1 million worth of computers to put in these rooms, when what these kids need was several $1 million worth of extra teachers so that they could get individual instruction. And if you look at, since I worked there, right? So I got hired at the school district in 2008, and I left, well, no, it was 2006, and I left in 2015, right? And so that whole period of time that I was there, 9 years or 8 years or whatever it was, right? The entire focus of the technology department was upgrading massive amounts of technology. We're talking new wireless base stations and brand new flat screen iMac computers, and setting up these huge lab environments for Common Core testing. And it was an absolute boondoggle, because these schools were wired with Cat 1 and 2, Cat 1 and 2 being the standard network data transfer cables in like the 90s, I guess. And they're running all this like maximum technology, brand spanking new Apple Blade servers, all of this stuff that requires on a steady, stable network connection, both internally and externally, right? So we've got gigabit internet coming into the school, fiber, right? But we've got a bunch of old dumb switches that don't even recognize those levels of speed and couldn't handle them if they did. So it's literally like being gifted a pot of molten gold and then pouring it into a sewer, in terms of how you're just wasting money, right?
You mentioned too, like doing it primarily for testing, which is retarded.
Yeah.
It's like not even taking full advantage of the technology that they're getting.
No.
Like it made a little bit more sense at my school because we were using like the full iMovie editing suite
Yeah.
for our like media production class, so
Yeah.
that made a little more sense.
Well, think about it. You got 6 computers in your room.
Yeah.
You got 46 kids. How much use is an individual kid in a 46 child classroom with 6 computers actually getting out of the computers? Yeah. Not much.
And then they moved to this fucking every kid gets an iPad or a
Yep.
Chromebook.
They were rolling that out when I left. It was one of the reasons why I knew I had to leave, because at the time they started rolling out Chromebooks, I wasn't a new guy anymore. I wasn't the elder statesman of my department, but I was well known and well respected in the community with regards to me being a long-term tech guy. And I spoke up every chance I got. This is going to be a boondoggle. This is going to be a waste. These are going to be destroyed. This is not worth the money that we're spending on it. This is not worth the time and effort that your already strapped tech team is going to have to spend trying to keep these things limping along.
Like at my school, they tried to have kids buy like they would provide the Chromebook for free, but they incentivized buying insurance for it because if your kid broke it, then they'd have to replace it.
I mean,
It's just like
so it's just like, and that was millions and millions of dollars. We're talking about probably 3,000 or 4,000 Chromebooks being rolled out in the first wave. We were talking these super expensive $1,600 laptop cart things that house the laptops and charge them all. You've got all of the labor and work that goes into it setting up the environment for those.
well, think of how much it
The
costs.
training for the teachers to show them how they work so that they can, and then, you know, if you're working in a typical school district, half of your teachers are computer illiterate. So the training doesn't do anything. So the kids are just kind of left to do whatever they want with these things.
Well, think too about how much it costs to have like school district emails for every single kid.
Oh no,
That's
I know.
not free to
No.
have that many different emails run.
No, we had a contract with Google.
Yeah.
To have their people come and set up a database and set up the fucking back end for us so that we could maintain tens of thousands of email addresses that rotated out.
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was insane the amount of bullshit that was millions of dollars were spent on that really didn't benefit children at all.
Like some of the stuff that we would do in Google Classroom, it was like, this could be a worksheet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And now with this generative AI stuff, it's like there might be more of an incentive for people to do paper essays again, because then they could just copy paste from ChatGPT
Yeah.
for all their shit.
Well, those Promethean boards that inevitably had a whiteboard or projector screen put over them. Yep.
If they were lucky, I think some people just used it as an actual whiteboard.
That, yeah. I mean, well, the teachers knew they couldn't, like in our school, they knew they couldn't write directly on them because it would get down in the little crevices and shit and ruin them. But they would just tape butcher paper over them and write with markers on the butcher paper.
You know what one of my math teachers did? She had one of those old overhead projectors with like the little gel things.
Yep.
And she would project that on the Promethean board
Yep.
butcher paper.
Part of my job, I had a mandate, was I was to travel around from classroom to classroom and ensure that no teachers were using overhead projectors, is what they were called, like the transparency projectors. And if I found one, I was to just grab it and take it out of their room and tell them to talk to the principal about it. And so I got to be the bad guy for that because a lot of these teachers were hiding them away in the closet. And then as soon as the Promethean shit got hooked up, they busted out the old dusty overhead projector, and that was that. And it's like, what a waste. Tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars on Promethean boards. A huge contract with
What
that
they
company.
should, like, the problem wasn't even necessarily the overhead projectors. It was like maybe they should have talked to the teachers before they invested in the Promethean boards. Like, would you
They did.
actually use this?
No, they did.
Yeah.
They, well, I, as far as like talking to the teachers, I don't think they did in the right way. But see, the problem is that the teachers that would go, what they would do probably is have certain teachers who are tech leaders at the school meet and take part in that decision process. Those teachers are not your typical teacher.
Yeah.
Those teachers are like fired up. They like technology, right? And so of course they're going to go like, oh yeah, we need to get this. This is going to be awesome. They're going to be fired up about it.
But meanwhile, fucking 60-year-old Mrs. Smith or whatever
Yeah.
just wants to use her overhead projector.
She's
not gonna
still on a
stop.
chalkboard and she's fine with that. And she, you know what I mean? Like, so that,
And that doesn't make her a bad teacher, but it's like, maybe just don't get the boards for those teachers because they're not going to use them.
yep. So functionally, in the years that I worked for the school district, I probably watched, and this is just a guess on my part because I I don't have all of the numbers, but I probably watched about $150 million worth of technology, surreptitious and barely functional due to the backbone of the district technology, wasted. So we're talking $150 million over the course of 8 years. If you distributed that out, you could probably add 3 or 4 fucking teachers at least to every school and get those class sizes down to 30. You could probably fund a fucking school lunch program in perpetuity for low-income kids. You could probably hire a bunch of special education teachers or ESL teachers to deal with the big problems that we had with that in the area. Any number of things. Renovating some of these schools and building like actual physical buildings so that kids aren't living in mouse infested temporary trailer classrooms for years and years, right? Any number of things could have been done that would have materially improved the education for these children. And I watched that money get pipelined into worthless technology, right? You can put a fucking computer in front of a kid and put a teacher in front of a kid, and you tell me where the more enrichment is going to happen. One-on-one with a teacher or one-on-one with a fucking iMac? I think we all know the answer to it, right? But for some reason, the school district was caught up in this fucking fantasy that we were going to be a cyber classroom and blah, 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 blah. And the parents were caught up in that too. So much of that money that we spent was for the ooh-ah factor. When parents came for parent-teacher conferences or whatever, where they visited their kids' classrooms, they see all these brand spanking new flat screen iMac computers up against the wall. They're like, wow. Wow. It really is the future. None of those teachers ask, like, why do every classroom have these brand new fucking computers that cost $1,600 a piece? Why do they have these? But they can't pay a teacher. Why is my son's class size 42? How much actual time does my son get on one of these 4 computers at a class size of 42? Right? It's just parents are checked out, man. That really is the problem. If parents were down there when they were talking about spending these tens of millions of dollars on stupid ass laptops for the kids instead of building new facilities for the kids, hiring new teachers to teach the kids, if the parents had just showed up en masse, it wouldn't have happened. Guaranteed, it wouldn't have happened. I don't know, man. I get fired up about this shit because I just lived in the mire of it. I saw it happening, and like, I was not a decision maker. I wasn't a department head or anything. And so I just basically, like, I had to watch it happen. I had to watch it happen, and there was nothing I could do about it. Yeah. Literally, if you could get class sizes down to what they were when I was a kid, that would massively increase the quality of education that kids are getting without spending an extra dollar on anything. Massively. When I was a kid, the average class size was something between 15 and 20. So if you had a first grade class, second grade class, my second grade class, I think had 15 kids in it, right? It was one teacher, 15 kids, plenty of time for the teacher to, give everybody a writing assignment, pull aside a couple of kids and give them a little extra instruction, right? And that's just in my lifetime. I don't think I ever had a class until I was in high school that had more than 20 kids in it. I'm pretty sure I can remember all of my teachers, and that's wild. So I had Mrs. Wright for kindergarten. I had Mrs. Ragnetti for first grade. I had Mrs. Jones for second grade. I had, oh fuck, who did I have for third? I can't remember my third grade teacher, so maybe she sucked. Fourth grade, I have Mrs. Wright again. She stopped teaching kindergarten, started teaching fourth grade. I got Mrs. Wright again. Fifth grade, I have Mrs. Tombaugh. No, fifth grade, I have Mrs. Sidlowski. Mrs. Tombaugh was the TA. Mrs. Sidlowski, fifth grade. Mrs. Percy, sixth grade, and then I moved and had Mrs. Bursey because I moved halfway through sixth grade to the other side of town. So I went to a different school for sixth grade. Seventh grade, I had Miss Devine. Eighth grade, Miss Devine. And then, obviously I start going to fucking high school and it gets a little harder, I think. But like that's most of my childhood teachers left enough of an impression on me that I remember their name to this day. Was moving to a different school difficult? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was due to divorce in my family. You know what I mean? My parents got a divorce and we had to sell our house and move. And it was, it's rough. It was a rough time in a kid's life. You know what I mean? I only remember one teacher of mine, Jonah. I remember her because her breath was horrible. Did your parents get spanked in school? I don't think so. I'd have to ask them. I don't think that they did capital punishment like that, but I might be wrong. Ooh. All right, I gotta go. I'm out of here.